I think A Tale of Our Time is a story that is relatable or relevant, particularly because of the current social, cultural, or political times.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Tales of Our Times. This is a show where we discuss the stories that move us, what makes them so meaningful, and why others could or should find meaning in them as well. This is not a spoiler-free show, so bear that in mind as you continue to listen. We tackle books, movies, comics, and more. Where there's a story, there's a reason to read or play for today. I'm your host, Amanda Stevens, and joining me today is a very special guest all the way from Seattle, Washington, Naomi Ercolano.
Hello.
Thank you for joining me.
It's my pleasure.
Naomi's a good friend of mine from back in the States, and you're actually back here visiting Taiwan at the moment. So I knew I wanted to get you in the studio, but before that, is there anything that you would like to say to introduce yourself?
Let's see. I love cats. And I work for Alaska Airlines. I love to travel, and I'm very excited to be here.
Yeah, it's awesome. So what story have you brought for us today?
So I'd like to talk about one of my favorite video games, if not my favorite video game, Life is Strange 2.
Yes, and this was published in 2018. It was developed by Don't Nod, and it was published by Square Enix in 2018. Correct. I feel like I hear a lot more about the first one.
Yes, it's probably the most popular of the series. There's 3 main games.
Yeah. I have heard a lot more, the most about the first one. And I think like in descending order, second one, and then the least about the last one.
Yeah.
But I think they all are very emotive, and they all like nail an emotional core.
Yes.
So I really want to talk about this. You actually met the voice actor. Wait, okay. So before we get into that, like the characters in this game are how old?
So the older brother is 16 and the younger brother is 9, I believe.
And then you actually, I think, met the child voice actor.
I met both, but I took a picture with the child and he was just adorable. He was so sweet.
Cute.
Yes, he was the sweetest.
That voice actor was Roman Dean Jorge. It's spelled like George, but we're pretty sure it's Jorge.
Yes.
So that's major props to you. You did a great job. I hope we did you justice with your name. So.
Because you did justice in your voice acting.
Yes. So I think I really want to get to the discussion on this. So I kind of just want to go into the summary. This is your final spoiler warning. Naomi, can you give us a summary of the game?
Yes, absolutely.
Life is Strange 2.
So it follows 2 Hispanic American brothers, Sean, who's the 16-year-old and the one that you play, and Daniel, your adorable little brother, who is 9 years old. The story begins with a confrontation between your neighbor, who is a bigot, and the father. And the police just happen to be driving by, witness this, get out, and in a very tragic turn of events, the father is shot and killed. And the little brother has these latent telekinesis powers that you just find out about. And
the family didn't know about that before this happens?
Not at all.
Oh my God.
Seeing this terrible situation, there's an explosion and the police officer is killed during this.
No.
But there's enough time for Sean to grab Daniel and to flee.
Yeah.
And the main goal of this story is for you and your brother to escape Seattle. This game first takes place in Seattle, where I'm from, and to head to Mexico, to where your father's hometown is, which was Puerto Lobos, I believe.
Oh, cute.
Yes, but also you need to raise your little brother. And so he has these new powers. He just lost his father. He's scared. He's sad. And it's your job to protect him and also to teach him how and when to use these powers. And this is a very, very important sort of
piece of the game.
Yes. So after this terrible incident, you're heading down on I-5, essentially.
Yeah,
down
the freeway.
So as you're heading south, you first go to this little grocery store. You're tired, you're hungry, and you get discovered. And this is kind of where you face some racism in this, because not only have you killed a police officer after your father was shot and killed, you're also Hispanic American.
And
this
now you're
is-
homeless. And I would imagine that also plays into, like, these boys, I have to imagine, do not look like they have a good home life after
they
traveling
don't.
down the interstate.
No. So they're very obviously fish out of water in this small little town. And so you get actually locked up, but you manage to escape, and you are helped by a friendly travel blocker.
Oh, that's nice.
Yes, he's very sweet. He's one of my favorite characters.
Oh.
And he gets you a motel room, and everything's good. Until...
Okay. Oh, that's why you're laughing. Okay, until.
Yes, until you are almost caught. Again, this happens multiple times. And you flee and find a little cabin in the woods. And this is an important part of the game because this is when you really delve into what Daniel's powers are. And you really get to start the whole, when do you use powers? Can you tell people that you have powers?
Yeah.
Moral choices that will really...
affect the later game.
Yes, exactly.
And then each time that you get caught, is it like the police or is it just like citizen helpers? Okay, so the police are actively searching for you.
Yes.
Oh my
because
God.
you killed one of their own. So
The stress.
after you. FBI's after you.
Oh my God.
Because there was an explosion. So you, your little brother actually gets sick. So you take him to your maternal grandparents. And that's when you find out more about the mother who just dipped.
The situation.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's a little boy next door, and him and Daniel become good friends. And there's like this small sense of
Normalcy.
normalcy. And once again, the police find you. You have to flee. Next, you end up on a farm where you are growing illegal substances.
Okay. Yeah.
And you meet one of the two love interests, and one of
For the older
reasons-
brother.
Yes, for the older brother.
I assume so. I just go on.
And one of the reasons why I like this game, kind of skipping ahead, is because there's queer representation.
Yes.
So
I'll put a pin in that. So
Yes.
you meet your love interests.
And well, he actually tries to convince your little brother to steal money from the landowner. Not good.
Your love interest.
Yes.
So we like him, but not what he wants.
No, but you need money, so it's
We
okay.
do need money, yeah.
But you get caught. There is a big confrontation where a gun is pulled, and Daniel, yet again, he's panicked and angry, and he uses his power.
In a dangerous way.
In a dangerous way, the whole building collapses.
Oh my God.
Now the older brother, he's captured by the FBI and he's in the hospital. But luckily, one of the farm workers takes Daniel and flees to his hometown.
To Daniel's hometown or the worker's hometown?
To the worker's hometown.
Okay, so he's hiding Daniel in a separate hometown.
Yes.
Okay.
And you manage to bust out of the hospital, of course, go and find your little brother, and you find out that a cult has formed around him.
Oh,
because
my
of his
God.
powers. So you have to help bust him out again, this time with the help of your mother.
Your mom's back in the picture.
Yes, for a little bit. And she takes you to her commune.
So she's in a cult.
No, sorry, not a commune, like a cult,
okay.
but like her little, they live in like a little pod of people
I
out in
understand.
the desert. Yet again, the police track you down, and this time your mother sacrifices herself and gets arrested in order for you to escape. And now you are at the final episode of the game, and these choices that you've made, these decisions that you made really get boiled down. You make it to the border, you get caught. And you have two choices. You either surrender or you bust through.
Yeah.
And from those two options, there's a bunch of branches into what happens if you choose, surrender versus run.
But this is like the final big choice.
Yes. And the one, can I say the one that I chose?
Yeah, tell it. This is not a spoiler-free show. I want to know what you picked. I want to know what happened.
Yes. So the way I played the game, I loved my little brother and I wanted to do anything to protect him, even at the expense of other people, which not great.
So you busted out.
So he pretty much breaks down the border and ends up killing more people. And
That was
you
the run
escape-
option.
Yeah, that was the run option.
Okay.
I didn't know he was going to kill more people.
I mean, like, I imagine it's the choices in this game, for anyone who hasn't played a game like this, it's not usually presented in like, this is what's going to happen. So like I would hazard a guess that it literally just said like surrender, run.
Yes,
Yeah.
but ultimately we escaped. We get to our father's hometown and we become local criminals. And so now I want to replay the game and try to get
my
a better
God.
ending because I chose run without knowing what would really happen.
So you want to know now? You want to know what would happen if you like surrendered, or
Yes.
maybe did something else and choose run.
Yes.
Still choose run, but maybe make different decisions earlier.
Make my brother a little more compassionate towards other and not just thinking about,
Not so violent.
about protect myself over everything else.
Yeah.
And also, I just want to throw this out there. The soundtrack for both of these games are incredible.
I listen without having played the first game or the second game all the way through. I do listen to the soundtracks for both of these games.
Yes.
So, okay, then let's keep going. What makes this game so meaningful to you?
So I am a Black woman, and I feel like any game that touches on racism and bigotry kind of already causes me to get kind of drawn in to check it out, to see what they do. I feel like this game wasn't too ham-fisted with the message that they were trying to get across.
Yeah.
But it was definitely something that was relevant to me in a way, especially the police brutality.
Yeah.
It also, as I said earlier, it makes you feel really paternal. And the trailer itself was like, I want this.
Yeah.
I want to play this game. I want to protect this little boy. It brings up a lot of questions on morality. And I love games like that.
Yeah. Like a really interesting mix. Because like, as you said about like the idea of addressing racial discrimination and like especially that in America. And this was at a time of a lot of social upheaval, especially around this idea of like police brutality.
Yes.
It was coming more and more into the spotlight even before that movement became as big as it did. So I think like that, and that is definitely like a central theme of the game, just based on what you told me, as well as like the importance, it feels like the importance of like community, because it's like who helps you out every time. It's people like you. It's local farmers who have a big heart. It's a travel blogger who sees like you are also just kind of like lost and need kindness.
Yes.
You know, whatever you may think, like I think it is a really good reflection of at least where America was at that time. And I think it should make you like question those things, right? Like who is truly helpful? Who should you really trust, I guess? I don't know. And then that does also dovetail into morality, right? Like it's a very like well-built conundrum. Like how can you define your own morality
when so much violence and hatred is being thrown at you?
Yeah, for like no reason.
Yeah.
Like these boys reacted to a violent situation.
Yes.
And violence happened reactively is the best word here, right? Like nothing was planned, but then they're vilified when one of them is literally a child. Like,
but
so,
the 16-year-old, of course, is the one who wants to take the fall for his little brother. So you have that pressure on you as well.
Yeah. Who's also like, by the way, let's also put this out here. 16-year-old is still a child.
Yes.
16 is still young.
Absolutely.
So it is a story about two children. We can say teenager and children all we want, but it is a game about two children on the run from the police.
Doing the best they can.
Yeah. Okay.
Exactly.
I want to unpin something as well. So you mentioned that there is like LGBTQ representation in this game as well.
In all of the games, I believe.
I was going to say, I know for sure they definitely have that in the first game.
Oh, yeah.
I only know a little bit about the third game, but my guess was going to be that it is there as well, because it's like related very strongly to the first one.
Yes. The third one's good, but
it's not quite as like long or involved as the other two, I think.
No, but again, queer representation seems to be like a theme in all the games, and I appreciate that. Do
you feel like, and we can leave this topic soon if you want as well, but like, do you feel like there was like positive representation of that in this game?
I do think there was. I think it was very natural, and it wasn't like a shock value, like, oh my goodness, the older brother is gay or queer or bi, whatnot. It just felt very natural.
Right.
And I like stories like that, especially ones that don't feel like, I don't want to say forced diversity, but...
Well, yeah. Like, it doesn't feel like they're trying to meet a quota.
Yeah.
But like this is just a natural part of the character.
Yeah.
Like, of course he's attracted to this guy, I assume. Based on the context clues. Of course he's attracted to this guy because like this guy is, I don't know, like nice, charming, handsome. Like this is like as you said before, I think about other difficult beats, like it's not ham-fisted.
No.
Like everything is told in a very like relatable way.
Yeah. Maybe besides the superpowers.
Right.
Yes.
Well, all of these games, I should have said this up front, but like all of these games do exist in kind of like a magical realism sphere, I think. And that's like integral to part of the game's success. I think that's how you can gamify it and make it not just a depressing story of like the reality of living in blank space America.
Yes.
Like wherever the Bay is, wherever Seattle is, like, you know, that kind of like lets you take it further and use all these different metaphors. But speaking of taking it further, let's get to our second to last question. Why do you think that Life is Strange 2 should be considered a tale of our time?
So I have to disagree when it comes to this game gets the recognition it deserves. The second one has actually had a lot of mixed reviews. Some people don't agree with me when I say that I don't feel like these topics are really ham-fisted. There are definitely people who don't want to see topics as heavy in a video game, especially ones that talk about racism. There's a lot of people who didn't like what they considered anti-police rhetoric.
The depiction.
Yeah, the depiction of the police being evil. And as a Black woman, I feel like why I felt like it wasn't like that was because I felt like it was really based in reality and like my reality. But for somebody who doesn't really have that reality or doesn't know, may see it kind of as, I don't want to say an affront, but...
Well, yeah, I would actually say as an affront, I'm gonna not counter, but I hope compliment your as a Black woman with like as a white woman. Like I think a lot of people who don't deal with that kind of discrimination, like it's very uncomfortable to sit with.
Yes.
And it can feel like demonization without just cause, to say it like in a very fancy way, right? But like I think that also is why it's important to see it in things like this and in something like a video game, because people expect to see that on the news or maybe in a book or when you go seek it out. But like maybe not to this degree, but like this problem is an everyday problem in America for a huge group of people.
Yeah.
And so I think like having it in a variety of media of different tones is also really important, because I think you have to sit with that discomfort.
Yes. And I also believe for people who say, well, I don't like politics in video games, why are you playing this game, first of all? Why are you playing this series?
You don't have to keep playing the game. You can stop playing the game anytime.
Yes, because I feel like the series is very political in a lot of ways. But I think that even fiction, it mirrors real life.
Right.
And real life is very political.
Well, and I think that's I gotta wrap it up soon, but I think to that point too, like politics are everywhere, and like the ability to ignore them is very privileged.
It is.
If you don't have to think about the way that politics affect your everyday life, then that's because they're not adversely affecting them.
Exactly.
In my opinion, I guess I should say, but I feel like that is something that, well, I feel like it's not the job, but I think that it could be reflective of good media to make you uncomfortable and sit with ideas and that you don't know and to challenge your beliefs. Yeah. So I think like having those here is a good reason for it to be a tale of our time. Like I think having people disagree might actually be indicative that it's very good. Yeah. To wrap this up, if you could give Life is Strange 2 its own one phrase subtitle, what would it be?
Brotherly love in the face of adversity.
I like that. Brotherly love in the face of or trumps
adversity.
Adversity.
Yeah, I like that.
Trumps. Keeps it shorter.
Brotherly love trumps adversity.
As long as you make the right choices.
As long as you make the right choices.
That last part doesn't have to be in the episode.
Right. Look at your life. Look at your decisions.
Right.
Where they led you.
That's not the episode title, but like, I mean, well, Naomi, thank you so much for coming on this show, especially like during your vacation. I really appreciate you stopping by.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I love talking about this game.
Yeah, I'm glad we got to talk about it. I'm glad we got to go through it. And also, thank you to everyone else out there for joining us on Radio Taiwan International. This has been Tales of Our Time, and I'm your host, Amanda Stevens, joined today by my lovely guest and friend, Naomi Ercolano. And I hope that you all enjoyed learning more about Life is Strange 2. Brotherly love trumps adversity, a tale of our time. We'll see you next time.